Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi and welcome back to my channel Fun with Data Science. So our today's topic of discussions are break and continuous statements. After that we are going to see that what are functions and there are how many types of functions, and then we will see about the docstrings. After that I have two more functions that are try and except functions. We are going to see that why they are used and how we can use them in our Python programming. Then we are going to see the file handling, that is Python file input output functions. This will include the theory of about the Python file input output functions, and at last we are going to see a random module which is a Python module. So let's get started for that. So first we are going to discuss about the break and continuous statements. Now let me tell you that where we use break. Let's say the previous program which I told you about the while loop. Okay, let me open my OneNote and let me write here. Let's say in the part 2 I told you about the while loops, right? So in while loop I had written something while I had given a condition a less than 45, then colon, and inside this while loop, no, in the upper side I had declared I is equal to 0, or you can say a. This was a, right? So a is equal to 0, and then I did print, and in brackets I wrote a, and here what I did was a is equal to a plus 1. So in this while loop here I had given a condition that till the condition satisfies, that is till the value of a which is less than 45, just print with the output, and here I had taken the increment operator. Now let's say in this while statement I wrote true, like true, or you can see it as 1 also. So in this my while loop, if I write true and I wrote 1, so it means that the control of my program, that like my control will go inside my loop. There is no condition like that, that if this value is less than this value or if this value is greater than this value, then only you can go inside my control loop. No, it's not like that. Here what I wrote is true, right? So this true means that you need that this control will always go inside our program. So whatever is written inside my while loop will always get executed if I write this true, or you can say 1 inside my condition, that is condition brackets for the while loop. So I hope you got that how we write true. And let's say I wrote this true here. Okay, so here what I had done, I had taken the same example. The only difference is that I had changed the values here, right? Okay, so this one only. Now when I'm going to run it, so after running, see what is this? This going to an infinite loop, right? See this. It's running and running and running. Okay. So now let me stop it. Okay. So let me show you that this how many ones I had got input, and it is going for an infinite loop rather than I had written I is equal to I plus 1. Why is it so? Because I have written this true is true. I have given a condition true inside my brackets. So for that, here comes we need to use a break statement, right? So whenever I'm going to give this true, or you can write it as 1 also inside my while loop, then I would be needing a break condition. So what does break means? Break means to, as it is understood from its word only, break, that means to stop the loop. Okay, so here if I want that my loop should be stopped at a point, and in this while I need to write this true also. So here what I'm going to do is that I have taken a condition for if, right? So if I is equal to 44, then it need to break the statement from here, and this I is equal to I plus 1 is the increment operator which we always use. Okay, so now when I'm going to run my program, what I'm going to get is that I'm going to get the numbers from 1, which is starting from 1 and it is ending till 45. Okay, now here my it will stop my if condition when my I is equal to 44, right? So my I is equal to 44, that is when my I will be 44, it must stop the loop, that is must break the loop. But why I'm getting this 45 here? Because in my print statement I had used I plus 1. Okay, so it will break the statement and go out of the loop. Okay, so this is I is equal to I plus 1, so that's why I'm getting this 45 this side. Okay, and it is starting from 1 because in my print statement I had written I plus 1, print I plus 1, so my I was 0. So when it got into the print statement, it was something like 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1. Okay, so I hope you got the idea that how to use the break statement. So break statement is basically used there where we are going to give this while condition as true, and we don't want an infinite loop. We want that my this loop should stop at a point, right? At the given condition where I'm going to give that condition, my loop should stop there. So there we are going to use this break statement, and if we are not going to use the break statement, I had already shown you that what happens, our loop goes to an infinite loop, right? So in my condition, when I did not put this break statement here, it was simply going from 1 and it was writing 1 infinite times. Okay, so this is the use of the break statement. Basically, this is why we use break statements in our as a condition. Okay, and now so this break statement is over. Now let's move to this continue statement. And why are we going to use this continue? And yeah, let me comment the above I also. So because downside I had already written this I. Okay, so here is the same example where I have written while and I have in the bracket given the condition as true. So this is so fine. Now hold on, just let me uncomment all these things. And okay, just outside, right? Okay, now let me take these things one side. Okay, fine. So here what I had done is that I had taken the same condition, that is while, and in bracket I had written true. So my control will go inside my loop. After that I had written a condition that if I plus 1 is greater than, if I plus 1 is less than 5. Okay, and inside this if I plus 1 is less than 5, I had given a condition that I is equal to I plus 1. So basically what it is doing, it is incrementing the I value. So above I had given the I value as 0. So this is the I value which I had given, and I wrote the condition if I plus 1 is less than 45, less than 5, then it will go inside my loop, and here I had used an increment operator. There's all these things you are familiar with, and what I had used here is continue. So what happens is that whenever I use continue here, so it will go inside my loop, it will increment, and it will run only in this thing. This continue will not let my control go outside this loop. So where I had used this print I plus 1, so this will not be printed. Why? Because my continue will run inside my this while this control only, whichever I have marked here. Okay, so this is the use that when I want to run my control inside a, you can say inside a particular loop, then we use continue here. Okay, so the conditions will be satisfied. Let's say I have given y is I is equal to 0. Okay, so it will go that 0 plus 1, that is 1 is less than 5. Yes, it is true, it will go, and 1 is equal to 1 plus 1, that is true, and it will continue. But after continue, it is not going to go and print this I plus 1, this line. Why? Because as I have told that my continue restricts the control of my program, and it will be again after continue, after it will see continue, it will again be going into my while loop. Then again it will be going and satisfy the condition till the value, the value of my I is 4. So let's say according to it, till then I am not going to get 3 plus 1 is less than 5, that is 4 is less than 5. Till then it is not going to print me any of the outputs. After my condition is this condition, if condition is false, it is going to go in the print statement, and then after that I'm going to use if I is equal to 44 break and then print I plus 1. So here what I'm going to get the output is that I'm going to get the values from 5 till 45. Now why from 5? Because it will restrict the values from printing till 4. As I had told that I had used this continue statement here, so it is not going to let this I value come into this print statement and be printed. So I will not get my outputs as 1, 2, 3, and 4. My final output will start from 5 and it will end till 45, and by 45, because I have told it in the above thing also that I have used I plus 1 in this print statement, that's why. Fine. Now let me run my program and see. This is the output which I was telling that my loop will start from 5. Okay, so this is the reason why we use continuous statements. And okay, let me increase this a little, because yeah, and it will go till 45 because I had used I plus 1 that side. So I hope this break and continue, both the things are absolutely clear to you, right? Okay, so this was the example for the break statement in which I had taken a condition while true and print I plus 1, I is equal 44, and then I have done with this continue also. So continue is restricting my control to go and print this statement because I had used continue here only. So it is going to work only and only inside this loop till my if condition is false. Okay, so this was all about break and continue. Now, as second topic of today is try and except. Okay, so no, sorry. Today now we are going to discuss about the functions and docstrings. Then we are going to discuss about the try and except. I'm so sorry for that. So let me take you to OneNote and let me write some things here also. Okay, fine. So here let me write that functions. And functions are of two types. Okay, so functions are of two types. First is the, okay, let me write in a little neater handwriting, BUI. And first is the built-in function, and second are the user defined. Okay, so as the name suggests that built-in, and in English what is the meaning for built-in? That the things which are already there, which are already built. So this is something in functions also, that if I'm the function which I'm going to use which already exists, which are already there in our modules, that are known as the built-in functions. And as the name defines, user defined, it means that these are the functions which we make, which are defined by the user, means which are defined by us. So built-in function, the example for built-in function which we are going to take today is of sum. So here sum is a built-in function, right? And user-defined function, we are going to make a function which will be something like fun. Okay, I hope it must be like fun, or let's see in the PyCharm IDE. So here is the built-in function. First I'm going to tell you about built-in function. So excuse me. So here what I had done is that I had taken a variable that is a, and I have assigned it a value as 2, right? Then what I have done is that I have taken another value that is b, and I have assigned it a value as 4. So these both the steps must be clear to that, because we are discussing all these steps from the first part of this videos. Okay, so these are the basic things. After that what I have done is that I have taken a variable that is c, and I had written sum, and in bracket I have passed a comma b. So as I told you that we will be using the sum built-in function today. So this is how we use a built-in function in our program. So I wrote sum, and in brackets I passed a comma b. So a comma b are these two variables which I have declared here, and the value for a is 2 and the value for b is 4. And after that I had written print safe. So now this sum function is going to add these both values, that is 4 and 2, and it is going to result me the output as 6. Okay, so I guess I haven't commented the down thing, so you just pay attention towards this 6 only. Okay, hold on, let me comment the things which I haven't commented. Okay, hold on. Right. And now let me again run it. Now you are going to get the single output, that is 6. Okay, so you can see this is 6. So this is how we use built-in functions in our programs. These are the functions which are already there, And here I didn't use any plus sign or any other special symbol or any operator here. So simply I wrote sum. So this function is already built in and it is saying that I need to add both the things. Okay, so that is a and b. So when I passed a comma b here, what it is going to do is that it is going to take the value of a, that is 2. It is going to take the value of b, that is 4, and it is going to add both these values, right? So it is going to add 4 plus 2 and that will result in 6, and here what I had done is that I had printed C. So now that's why I was getting the output as 6. So this was the whole built-in function that we were discussing. And now let me take you to user-defined functions. And first let me uncomment all these things. Okay, so here what I had done, I had declared a user-defined function. So this is how we write a user-defined function. The things which I have highlighted, this is the way how we write user-defined functions. For writing a user-defined function, what we need to do is that firstly we need to write def. Okay, so this is the defining of our user-defined function. So this is how we define a function, that is def, and after that we write our function's name. And now let me just make it to fun, because this function is a little bit confusing, like user-defined function, built-in function. So every word contains function only. Okay, so here I had taken a function that is fun and I had made a user-defined function. This is the way for making a user-defined function. I simply write def and then I'm going to write this fun. This fun is my user-defined function which I have made, and after that I'm going to put some brackets. So why these brackets? You will get this question's answer in 2-3 minutes only, because we are going to see the next example only for this thing. So first let's focus here that now one important thing, that wherever we define our function, let's say I had written this def fun. So what is this? This is defining our function, right? So this is called as function declaration. This is how I'm declaring my function. This is how I'm defining my function. This is how I'm making my function. Okay, so it is something like def and then I'm going to write fun. Okay, so this is the way how we declare our function. So the function, the step, the line in which I'm going to write this def and then I'm going to write my function name, this is this line, this step is known as function declaration. Okay, so this is function declaration, and after that going inside my function I had written print my name is Shambhavi. So this is the basic thing, and after that I came out of my function, right? And after my function, after coming out of my function, simply I wrote fun. Okay, and then I put these brackets, which is my this function name, right? So what I had done is that after declaring my function and writing something inside my function, I have come out of my function and called that function. Okay, so this step is known as function calling. It is a step where I call my function. So for calling a function, what you need to do is that you need to simply write the function name here. So this is called function calling. So if I have defined and declared my function, and if I'm not going to call my function, I'm not going to get the output. So is this thing clear to you all, that when I need to declare or define my function, then I need to call the function also, right? So now when I'm going to run it, see, I got the output. My name is Shambhavi, right? So this is how we make a user-defined function. And now let me once comment this fun. And now let me run this. See, did I get any output here? Hold on, let me zoom it a little. So did I got any output here? No, I didn't get any output because I have commented my function calling. So this is the way that what is the use of function calling. I need to write this function. I need to call this function. So it means that this fun is written here. So when it will see this fun, it will go back to my function where I have declared my function, that is fun. And then it will go inside my function and see what's the thing that I need to print here. So it will get that my name is Shambhavi. You need to print this statement. So it will come out and it will print my statement, that is my name is Shambhavi. Okay. So I hope this thing must be clear to you all, right? Okay, now this is the user defined function. Next I'm going to tell you that how do we pass arguments to our function. Okay, so just a second. Let me rename this function. I'm going to name it that fun1. Okay, and I'm going to name it fun1. Okay, so one more thing, that the function declaration and the function calling names should be same. Okay, there's like you can't add different names. It is going to give you error if you are going to name a different function at the declaration and you are going to call a different function till the time this function is not present in your program. Let's say you have written some function here and after that you are going to call this any other function here. So this function, the name, if you are going to give any different name in the function calling, then that function name should be present in your program. Okay, then only it's going to run, otherwise it will show some errors to you. So this is there I have taken the same example, and now in this fun bracket I had given a comma b. So basically this is called, these are known as the arguments of a function. So this a and b are the arguments of our function. So I hope you got the point about the arguments, and after that in the bracket I have written print my name is Shambhavi, and after that I put a comma, that is I separated, and I wrote a minus b. So what's this a minus b? So this a minus b is the arguments which I have declared in my function. So hereby what I wanted is that I should print my name also and I should subtract two values also. So this is how we do like this. I'm going to write in the print statement that my name is Shambhavi, and after that I'm going to pass this a minus b, and okay, after coming out of my function, right, I'm going to call my function, that is fun1, and in brackets I'm going to pass the values. Now I have passed two values 5, 1 here. Why? Because I have taken two arguments in my function declaration when I was declaring my function, I had taken two variables here, right? That was a and b. So in the function calling I need to give these variables values. Now what will happen, that the value 5 will be assigned to A. The 1 value will be assigned to B, and it will go inside the function. It will print my name is Shambhavi, and after that it will see that it is written A minus B. So it is going to subtract 5 minus 1, and now what the final output I will be getting is my name is Shambhavi at 4. So now let me run it once. See, this was the output which I was telling that we will be getting, that my name is Shambhavi, and after that I got this 4 here, right? So this is how we pass arguments to our function. So this is the way. The arguments which you are passing above, you need to write these values when you are calling the function. In the function declaration, you need to pass the arguments, and in the function calling you need to pass the values of that function, right? So this is how we pass arguments to a function and make a user defined function. Now I have one more example, and here I'm going to tell about the docstrings also, that why we are going to use this docstring. And just let me comment out all these, that I mean uncomment all these things, right? So okay, and above side, fine. So here I had made a new function, that is user defined function, and I have named it as new function, right? So this is clear, and after that I have passed a and b, I mean a comma b. So these are the two arguments which I passed in my function. Now just leave this 20th line, I will come to this a little bit later. Firstly, inside my function I have declared a variable and its name is multiply, right? And I have assigned a multiply by b. So keep in mind, it is not x, it is a multiplication sign. Okay, so here what I have written a variable that is multiply, and that I had given it a into b. So this a and b are the arguments which I had already passed inside my function. Okay, so and after that I print the multiply. Fine. So this is clear, and once let me comment this thing, return multiply. Okay, now after coming out of my function, I had taken another variable, right? That is s. So till now what we were doing is that I was simply coming out of my function and calling that function without giving any variable, without storing this function into a variable. But now this time what I did is that I had taken a variable that is s, and I had assigned it a new function, and in bracket I passed the values of the arguments. So these values of the arguments, now I hope you must remember the working which I told few seconds before, that this 2 will be assigned to A and this 5 will be assigned to B. Right? So this is how this S works, and I had then print this S. So now when I'm going to run my program, now see the differences that what I'm going to tell you. Okay, hold on. What I had done is that I need to comment it out. Right. So now see what is the output which I get is that firstly I got the 10. Okay, so this 10 is the find which I got here. Like here I use this multiply A into B, and then I printed that multiply. This is fine, totally fine. Now what I got here is one more thing, that is none, but I haven't printed it somewhere, right? Because like this was our program and I haven't printed this none somewhere. So how did I got this? So this is the thing where comes the role of a return. Okay, so here in my function, when I had taken this variable that is multiply, okay, and now when I print this multiply, I did not return that variable. Okay, so it in our function, when we are going to declare a function, inside that function I am going to take a variable, then I need to, if you want to print, then print, otherwise we need to return that variable also in our user defined function. So here what I need to do is that I need to write return, and then I need to write in bracket, no, not in bracket, I need to write simply multiply. Okay, so this is how in a function we write, we return. And now let me comment this print statement once, and now let me run this program. See, what's the output which I'm getting? I'm simply getting the output that is 10. Why? Because I wrote here that return multiply. So it is going to return me the value of multiply, which is like 2 into 5, which is equal to 10. So simply this is also a way to return any value or any variable in something in our user defined functions. So I hope you got the point how we do all these things. And now let me tell you about the docstring. So what is a docstring? It is something like, let's say you have written a 200 lines code, okay, and now you have used, let's say, 20 functions inside your program, and now you forget that what your new function does, what's the work of your new function. So if you have added that docstring inside a function, so the way for adding the docstring is like you need to write these three semicolons. Okay, now let me move a little bit downside, and now let me tell you like how we write. So like it's something like this. See here what I had used. Okay, one more, this. So this is the way, like you need to write these three semicolons this side and three semicolons this side, and you need to write a sentence between these lines. Let's say I write, okay, this is Python programming. Okay, so I wrote this is Python programming inside these semicolons. Okay, so this is how we declare a docstring, and this is how we write a docstring. Now let me comment it out, because I haven't written this inside my function, and here I had written a docstring inside my function. Okay, so this is like I have written, this is a function which will calculate the project. Okay, so in the bracket also I had written this is a docstring. So and now when I'm going to write something like print new function, okay, new function is my function name which I had used, and I'm going to write doc, then I'm going to put these two underscores. Okay, this two, I mean this double underscore, then I'm going to write doc, and then again I'm going to put two underscores. And now when I'm going to run my program, see, this is the output which I am getting here is that firstly I'm getting the value, and when I write this print new function and then I wrote doc, so what it is going to give me, the doc string which I have written inside my function. That is, this is a function which will calculate the product. Okay, this is a docstring. So this was the thing which I had written inside my function. Let's see this like this one. Okay. So this is the use of docstring. Like if you are using many functions within a one program, and after that you forget that what your this function does. So anywhere you can write this simply print, and after that you can write this new function and then doc dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore, and when you are going to run it, it will tell you that okay, your this function does this, but it is going to tell you then only if you have inserted a doc string inside that function. So it is a good practice to insert the doc string inside the functions, like it's going to help you writing in when you're writing like big programs. There it is going to help you with telling that what is this function does. Okay, so this was whole about functions and docstrings. So I hope this all these things must be properly clear to you all, right? Now okay, I'm so sorry, let me open the PyCharm. Right, now let's see about the try and except. These are the two things, try and except, right? So here what I had done is that I had taken a print statement and I had written enter number 1. Num1 is equal to input. Okay. So when I was discussing about the data types, then I told you that if I am not going to write any of the, you can say any of the data type before my input function, like if I don't write somewhere int or float, right, then my input value will always be treated as a string value. Whether it is a number, whether it is a string, it doesn't matter. If I am not going to typecast my input into integer or float value, then always my input will be treated as a string value. So here what I had done is that I had taken a num1 as my variable, and I had written this input, and simply I had put these brackets. So the number or the string which I am going to enter here will be always treated as a string data type. So I hope I made this thing clear to you, and I had already discussed all these things in my previous videos, right? So this is you can say this is one more way how we ask the input from a user. Like you can firstly write print and then in brackets you can write enter number 1. Okay, and let me put these colons. It looks a little nice after putting these colons, right? So now, and after that I had taken a variable that is num1 and I have written is equal to input, right? Then what I did is that I had taken another print statement that is enter number 2, and then I had written num2 is equal to input. So these two inputs will be in a string format, right? Because I haven't used any int or float data type before my input function, so it will automatically take my inputs in the string format. Okay. Now, here what I had done is that I had written try, right? So this is try. Now, you all must be knowing the try meaning, like simply a English word that is try, okay, to try something, to experiment something, right? And except this except you all must be knowing in the English language that what's the meaning of this try and except. Now, just relate it to the proper English language, like what's the meaning of try? What is the word that why we use try? What is the meaning of it? And what is the meaning of except? If you are going to relate this try and except from the normal English language, then you are going to get this topic very clear. Okay, so just relate it and just think about the what is the try meaning in English, what is the meaning of except in English. Okay, now here I wrote try, and after that inside my try I wrote print the sum of number is, and I wrote num1 plus integer num2. So now what I'm going to get here will be an exception. Right? No, I'm not going to get an error here. No. I'm not going to get error. You are thinking error. No, it's not error. Why? Because I have used this except function. So this is the only thing that why we use except function. It's something like if I write something inside try. Okay, I write try and inside try I wrote something like you can say if I wrote something and there's any error inside that try, then it's not going to throw me the error, and other than the error it is going to throw me a exception. Like the error, like how we get errors. If I am not going, if I am typecasting this num2 into an integer value, and here if I am not typecasting this num1 into an integer value, and if I have written this program in a normal way without using this try and except, then I would be getting I would be getting a logical error because I haven't typecasted both the values, and we can't add string and integer values, right? So this is the true that we can't add a string and an integer. We can add an integer and float, but we cannot add a string and integer. So it would be giving me error. But here if I have used this inside this try function, and after that I have used this except function, so it is not going to give me error. What it is going to give me a exception like you haven't typecasted both the values. It is going to give me an exception like this, right? Hold on, let me comment it out. Right, so here inside this try I wrote print the sum of number is, and I wrote comma num1 plus int num2. Right, and this I had written one exception. This is the way how we write exception as e. So in this e you can write anything like your wish, any number, any alphabet, a b c d, anyone. Okay, and then I'm going to print that e. So now it is not going to give me an error. It is going to print me an exception, something like, let me run it. And now, okay, so in the starting I had asked for numbers. So first number let me enter as 3, and it's asking to enter number 2. Let's say I entered 4. So right, see, I haven't got any output, but what I got is an exception that can only concatenate a string, not int to a string, right? So this is the exception which I got. And if I haven't used this try and except functions, that what would I will be getting is something like you have made a logical error. So it would be something like int plus str cannot be added, or they cannot be concatenated, right? So here I'm getting an exception that can only concatenate a string, not int to str. So it is clearly telling me that you have not typecasted your strings into integer values. So it is telling me that you have one string value and one integer, and they both cannot be concatenated. So now let me once convert it typecast into integer, right? And now when I'm going to run this program, see, it's asking me to enter number 1. Let's say I entered 5. And now once I entered 2, now it is going to give me that the sum of number is 7. Okay, so this thing, I hope this thing must be clear to you, that how we use try and except functions in our Python programming. And if I'm going to write this statement like this print, this line is very important, and if I'm not going to typecast it, I'm going to not typecast this num1, I'm simply typecasting integer and num2. So it is going to throw me an exception, and with that it is going to print me this line also, that this line is very important. Like, okay, hold on, let me take it a little down. So first what it will do, it will ask me the numbers, I will input that. After that it is going to throw me an exception again, because I have again removed that integer typecasting from here. So it is going to give me an exception, something like concatenate in integer to string, something like that. And after that, coming out of that exception, it is going to print me this line also, that this line is very important. And now let me run into number 1. Let's say I entered 4 here. Okay, now enter number 2. Let's say I entered 3. So this was the exception which I got, and after that I got this line. This line is very important also, right? So this is how, if you have any error, if you have any exception in this line, it is going to print that exception, and after that it is going to print all the other things which are written outside this except function. So I hope I made this clear to you. And here, if you have watched my videos from the starting, then you must be knowing that why I am using this int. So this is which type of typecasting, right? So this is the explicit typecasting, which I had already told in a very detail in my previous videos. Okay, so this is how we do try and except functions in our Python programming, right? Now let me take you to a little bit of theory and let me explain you these things a little bit. Okay, right. So these are the file input output basics, which we also call as file handling. So okay, so in this what we do is that we write a text file. Okay, so we perform some operations in that text file, like opening that file, uh, and adding some more content to that file, and writing that file, and all these functions like this. So this basically, these are the modes. This whatever you are seeing, like R, W, X, A, T, B, and plus. So these are the modes in which we can use our text file, which we will make. So today I'm only going to tell you about the theoretical functions of these values, so that you can learn them by the next video. Okay, so if somewhere it is written like R, so it means open file for reading. If you are going to set the file mode as R, then it means that open file for reading, and it is a default mode. There are two default modes in our file IO basics, that is text mode and open file for reading, R and T. So these two are the default modes. Okay, and if you write R, that means open file for reading. Then if you write W, right? Okay, hold on. This W. So this means open file for writing. Okay, R open file for reading, W open file for writing. Then if you see this X somewhere written as a mode, then what it means, that creates file if not exist. Okay, so here what we are discussing, that we will create a file and then we will read, write and like perform the functions. So if your file is not exist, so you can write X and then it will create a file for you if your file does not exist. Okay, A means to add more content to a file. Okay, T means the text mode, which I already told you. B is the binary mode, and plus, this plus sign, wherever it is written, it you can treat it as read and write both. Okay, so it will open the file, it will read your file and it will also write your file. Okay, so these are the file input output basics, which was a little bit theoretical, and you need to remember all these things. I guess you need to keep in things all mind, because in the next video we are going to discuss all the input output basics. Like, we are going to see all the file handling tools at a one time, right? So you need to remember all these things. So that's why I'm discussing this thing, because after that I'm going to give you 1 week time for learning all these input output basic functions, right? So these are the things like R, W, X, A, T, B and plus, right? So these are the modes in which we can open our file, we can read our file, we can write the file and all that things. So this was the Python file IO theoretical basics which we discussed. Like, these are the modes for our file. So we'll be working on a text file, right? Now let's move to our today's last topic. That is the Python module, that is random. So what does this random means, right? So in English language, if you are going to search for random, what's the meaning for random? So then you will get this word more accurately, and you will get this video more, like you can say, more in a better understanding way. Because the words which are used here, they are just similar to the English language words. Like, what's the meaning for random? Okay, random means to print something, like print anything, right? So it is like it can print anything. Now let me tell you, right, how. Like, let's say I wrote import random. So this is the way how we import a Python library in our programs. So this is the way. Firstly, we write import, right? And after that, I write that library name, whatever I want to import in my Python program. Then now, what I did is that I had firstly imported random. Now here only let me tell you one thing, that if you want to see all the, you can say, all the knowledge and all the things which are in random, so what you do is that you simply press your control button. Okay, simply press the control button and take this cursor over random. So now presently it is simply black. Now when I'm going to press this control button and take this cursor over this random, so it is going to turn blue. And now when I'm going to click this random, so this is what I get after clicking the random. And you can see that what are the functions you can use in random. So these are the, basically you can say it as a reading file for random. There are general nodes and like try, except, class random. So here you can find many of the functions with which you can work on random, with which you can use random library and all that thing. So this is a way how you can read about the random uh, library. Okay, so now let me move on with the variable. Now here what I had taken is that I had taken a variable that is number. Okay, and what I written is that I had used my random library here. So what I write is that random. Okay, then I put a dot, right? After that what I wrote is rand int. So it is going to give me a random integer. Okay, and after this rand int I put these brackets, and inside that I mentioned a value, you can say a range, that is 100 to 200. So now my random integer function is going to give me a random value between 100 to 200. So this is how we mention a range, that I want a random value between this 100 till 200. So let me once explain this line more, that I had taken a variable that is number. Okay, after that what I written is equal to, then I wrote random. So this random is my library, there dot, and then I use the rand integer function. So this rand int is going to take a integer value between this 100 till 200. Okay, and then when I'm going to print this number, right, and let me run. So see what I got. I got 189, right? So why I got this? Because I have used this rand integer function till between 100 till 200. And now when I'm going to run this program again, now I got this 102. When I'm going to run this program again, I got 154. So this is how this random module works. If you write a range that you want a random number inside this 100 till 200, so it is going to give you random integer numbers between this value. Okay, so this is how this random function works for the integer values for a given range. Now let's say you define a list, that is list 1. So like for defining a list, I have already told these things in my lecture in this part 2 of this series English videos, that how do we declare a list, how we declare a tuple and all that thing. So I'm not going to repeat this here. If you want, you can watch that video also. So here what I am going to do is that I had made a list, that is list 1. Then I had taken a list, made a list, that is, and inside that list I have passed some elements, that is coffee, water, milkshake, fruits, and then I had written vegetable. So this is how I declared a list. And after that what I had done is that I had taken a variable, that is a. I had written a is equal to random. Again here I use this random variable, this random library which I had imported above. Then I used dot, then I used a choice function here. So I wrote choice, and inside that I printed the list 1. So now it is going to print me these, you can say, these elements which are inserted in my list randomly. So somehow it will print milkshake. Then if I'll run it again, it will print me coffee. If I run again it third time, it can again print me coffee. There's no issue, it can print a single element many a times. Okay, so now once let's run it, and so see what it gave me output is fruits, and now when I'm going to again run it, it again gave me fruits, and now when I'm going to run it third time, it gave me coffee. So this is the thing which I was telling you, that it can give a single element many a times also, and it can continuously differentiate all the elements. So firstly it gave me fruits, then it again gave me fruits, and now it gave me coffee. So this is how we use this random module in our Python programming. And I told you that you can simply press Ctrl and go over this random function, random library, and then you can see all the functions which are in this random. You can read a lot of things that are written here, written that side, and this is how this random function works. So I hope today's topics must be clear to you, which will break and continue, functions and docstrings, try and accept, Python file IO, that is like file handling, and after that I discussed with you about the random module. So this is how we completed our today's lecture, and if you have any doubts you can even rewatch this video, or you can ask that doubts into me in the comment box. So this is all for this video, and do like, subscribe and share my channel as much as you all can. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and bye bye. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi and welcome back to my channel Fun with Data Science. So today we are going to cover the whole file handling in a single video. So in the last video I had already told you that you need to remember all that theoretical Python input output functions which I described there as R, W, A and all that things. So that's why I was asking you all to remember them, because today we are going to cover the whole file handling thing. Okay, so file handling, and that is also called, yeah, you can say Python input output functions. Okay, so now for that let me tell you first that how to make a text file in PyCharm. So for that what you need to do is that you had already made a folder in which you must be writing all the codes and storing it in a single place. So what you need to do is that go on that folder, just click there. Okay, so it will turn a little blue the side. After that what you need to do is that you need to you need to press the right click button, then you need to go to new, and after that new you need to go on this file. This is the first option, that one is the file. When you are going to click it here, you need to name a text file. So for that let's say I am going to name it as first. Okay, and I'm going to name it first.txt, and when you are going to click enter, so this will be your text file. Okay, so now you can write some of the lines inside this code, that okay, my name is this and I am this, I'm studying this, I'm doing the Python programming and all that things like that. So I have already made a PyText file here, so which is this file. So the file today on which we will be working is write.txt, and the things which I have written in it is like something. Shambhavi started a YouTube channel. Name of YouTube channel is Fun with Data Science. Do like, subscribe and share the channel. Okay. So these are the 3 lines which I had already written in my text file. And the name of my text file is write.txt, and I have told you that how we make a text file in this PyCharm IDE. Okay. Now let's move towards the programming part, and here let's say I write if. So now after some time I'm going to tell you that what does this if means, but first let's only singly write that if is equal to, and I use this open function. So now what it will do, it will simply open my text file, and the name of my text file is write.txt, which I have already told you, and I will store these things inside my text file. Okay, okay, hold on, let me zoom in a little. Okay, so these are the 3 lines which I have already stored in my text file, and this is the way how we open a file. And let's say if you are opening a book, let's say you have opened a book and you have studied from that book for 1 hour. Okay, and after that are you going to keep that book permanently open, or you are going to close that book also? Yeah, you are going to close that book. So this is the only thing which I want to tell you, that if you open a file, this is also a text file, and you can also take it as a book. So if you are opening your book, you need to close that also. So if you are opening a text file in this programming, then you need to close that text file also. So for that closing, I wrote that f dot close. So this is the way to close a text file which we in which we are working, and in which we are going to see the different modes. Okay. So presently I told you two things, that how to open a file and how to close that file. Right. So here, when I wrote f is equal to open write.txt, this is simply opening my file. Now, in the last video, I have discussed with you some modes, right? That was read mode and write mode. These two are the common modes. Okay. So here I haven't declared any mode, that in which mode I want to open my file. So this is a simply basic opening of a file. That this is the way how you open a file. And as I have told you, there were two modes which were the default mode. Okay, so in that one mode was read RT mode. So this is a default mode. So if you're not going to mention any of the modes here, it will automatically open in the default mode. Let me open that file only. Okay, so that was python dot file basics. And see, I told you that this R is the open file for reading. It is the default mode, and we have discussed about the T, that was a text mode, and it is also a default mode. Okay, so this is the thing, that if I'm not going to write any R or T this side, so it means it will already be open in a default mode. Okay, now let me comment this out and let me open it like this. Now if I write like f is equal to open is my function which I'm using, and in the semi-quotes I wrote and gave my text file name, that is write.txt, fine. And then I'm going to open it in the R mode. Now this R is the read mode. I want to read that what are the things that are written in my text file. So here I have shown you that okay, these three are the lines written in my file. Let's say you have many files, and after some time you want to check that what's written in your this text file. So what you're going to write is f is equal to open, and in brackets you're going to use the semicolon and write write.txt. Okay, then what is the next thing, that you need to put a comma, and after that you need to declare the mode, that in which mode you want to open that file, right? You want to add something, or you want to write in that file, or you only want to read that file. So these are the modes, that in which mode you want to open the file, and here I had used this R. Okay, now let me tell you that why I am using if. So it's like if function returns the file pointer. It is the thing that okay, my file is pointing to this. Okay, this is my file pointer. You can remember this in a way that this if returns the file pointer. Okay, so this was the opening of the file in the read mode, and after that if I want to read the content of my file, that what's the material or what are the text which I have written in my file. So for that what we do is that we take a single variable. Okay, so let's say I have taken the variable content here, right? Then I will put a equal to sign, and then what I'm going to do is f dot read, and I'm going to put these brackets sync. Now this will return me the whole file. Okay, so when I'm going to print this content, it is going to return me all the 3 lines which are stored in my file. So when I'm going to run it, see, this is the output which I got, and these 3 were the lines which I had already written my text file. Now let's match it. See, Shambhavi started a YouTube channel. Name of YouTube channel, Fun with Data Science. Do like, subscribe, and share the channel. Okay, so these were the lines which I had already written in my file, text file. And here what I did is that after writing this code, that is, I had opened the file in the read mode. After that, what I had done, I had taken a variable that is content, right? Then I assigned it f.read. That it means I want to read my file. Okay, and after that finally I printed that content, that is the variable in which I have stored that I want to read my file, right? So this is the way how we write and simply how we read our file, that what is written in our file. Now let's say if I write 3 here, and now if I'm going to run this, it is going to give me the first 3 alphabets written, yeah, also you can say characters written in a file, and that were SHA. Now let's match it. Yeah, it was SHA only, because on the starting of the line I had written my name, and the starting 3 characters are SH and A. So this is like if you want to read some characters simply of your file. So this is how you do that. You simply write f dot read, okay, and after that you pass the numbers that okay, this much characters I want to read from a file, okay. Now, as we have seen in the in the string functions, we have seen some function like if you are going to give the length which is greater than your file. Okay, let's say in my file that is write.txt, let's say there are 45 total characters. And now, if I'm going to give a very much larger value, let's say I'm going to give 600 here. So now what it's going to print? If you have already watched my string slicing video, which I have covered in the second part, then you must be knowing that it is going to return me the whole file, that whatever the content is written in my file, it is going to return me that, and after that it is going to stop the loop. It is not going to show me any error because my length of my file is greater, which I have mentioned here, so it's not less, okay. Now let's add like 600. Let me write the 600 and then I'm going to print this content. Then here I'm going to get my whole file. Like see, this is the whole file which we have written here. So because 600 is a very large number, whatever the characters and whatever is the length of my file, it is a very large number than that. But then also it is going to print me all the content which is present in my text file, and then after it will stop the loop. Okay, so this is how this read function works, and this is how we read the content from our file. Now this is done. If I want to read a single line from a file, let's say till now we were seeing that if you want to read a whole file, right, if we need to read the some characters of a file, we have seen the process that we simply declare a variable that is content and we assign it as f.read, and in bracket we are going to you can even mention some of the length, or you, if you don't want, you can't mention any of the length here, and then it will print you the whole whatever the file content is there in a file. Now if I want to read a single line from my file, so for that there comes the readline function. There now one more function is there, that is readline. Now let's say in my write.txt I have 3 lines written here. I simply want to read my first line. Okay, that is Shambhavi started a YouTube channel. I simply want to read this line. So now what will I do? I will simply write print and I will use my file pointer, that will f, that is f, and I will write f dot read line. Okay, so this read line is a function which helps to read a single line of your text file. Okay, so here what I wrote is that I wrote a print statement, then I wrote a file pointer, and I use a readline function which is used for reading a first line of your program, of your file. Okay, and now when I'm going to run it, simply I'm going to get Shambhavi started a YouTube channel. So yeah, let's match. This was the first line of our text file which I have added here. So this is the way how we read a single line of our file. Now if I write this, what was this f.read line function one more time. So now what it is going to give me, it is going to give me the another line also. Now it is going to print me 2 lines. The first one is Shambhavi started a YouTube channel, and the second one is name of YouTube channel is Fun with Data Science. Okay, so this is how we read lines in our text file. Now let me summarize this topic for open read and readline function. That if you want to open a file, that what you write is that you use a file pointer, that is if, after that you wrote a function that is open, then you write the file name, whatever the name of your text file is there, you simply write that text file, and after that you write the mode, in which mode you want to open. And if you are not going to write any of the modes, it will open in the default mode. Okay, now I have told that this if is a file pointer. Then next is that if you want to access some of the content, or if you want to print and read whole the file, so for that what you need is that you simply take a variable, assign that variable f.read. You use read function here, and in bracket if you want to read some character, then you mention that character's length. If you want to read some, you can say read whole file, then you do not mention anything here and simply print that variable. So it is going to print you, it is going to give you the output of the whole text file whatever we have made. And now after that, if you want to read single lines of your text file, then what you do is that you simply use a readline function, and the way for using is that print, and in brackets you are going to use the file pointer, that is if, then you are going to use a dot, and after that you are going to use the readline function. Okay, so this is the way that how we read the our file, text file. Okay, now we have completed this open, read and readline functions, right? Now here are some, like, now we are going to see the writing and appending two functions of our file. So for that also I had, okay, hold on, let me comment all these things once. Okay, so like control and backslash, fine, and let me close this now, write.txt, and let me open a new file. Okay, so for now, writing and appending, what I'm doing is that I am making a new text file. Okay, so my first text file name was write, and my second text name file is write2.txt. Fine, and now I'm going to just keep it blank. I'm not going to write anything here, because now we are going to see the write and appending function, that how can we write in our text file. In the previous, we have seen that we had already written some lines in a text file, and we were reading that text file. Now we have made a text file, and now we are going to write on that text file using our Python program. So for that, what I have done is that I have taken a blank text file. Okay, now f is a file pointer. Okay, and now after that I'm going to open my file. Now I'm going to open my new file in which I haven't written anything, and the name of the file is write2.txt, right? I'm going to separate this using a comma, and then I'm going to open my this write2.txt file in the write mode. And for using that write mode, what I need to write is that I need to write w inside these semicolons. Yeah, I have told you all of these things in the previous video only, and I have asked you to learn all these things. If you have learned that, well and good, and you will be understanding the whole lecture today. And if you haven't, then I don't know what's going to happen, right? So like f is a file pointer, and you need to open your write2.txt in a write mode file. Okay, after that I want to write this line in my file, that is best YouTube channel for Python. Okay, now if I want to add any line inside my text file which I have made, and it is already blank, so for that what I need to do is that first I need to open my file in the write mode. Okay, after opening my file in the write mode, what I need to do is that I need to write f.write. I need to use this write function here. So after using the write function, in the brackets I need to write the whole sentence, whatever I want to print in my, or you can say whatever I want to add in my text file inside the semicolon. So I simply wrote that best YouTube channel for Python. Okay, and then after that I closed my file. Now when I'm going to run this program, see, I haven't got any output here. Why? Because I haven't printed any line for this output. But when I'm going to open my write2.txt file, I will see that here it is written best YouTube channel for Python. So this is how we write in our text file. What we do is that we simply take a file pointer, we open our file, you write the name of a file, and you open that file in the write mode. After that, you use the write function using the file pointer, and then simply you write the sentence, whatever you want to print in your file, text file. Okay, and after that you close the file. When you are going to run this program in this, in the same, you are not going to get any output. Simply you are going to get process finished with exit code 0, because you haven't added any of the print function here, that you want to print this line or something like that. But when you're going to open your write2.txt file, there you are going to get the same sentence which you have used here in the function that was write. So this is the way that how we write a sentence in our text file. Okay, now here next function comes is a. Now this a means to append something. Append means to add something in our file. In our file, this best YouTube channel for Python is already written. Okay, and now let's say I want to add this sentence once more in my file. Okay, so for that what I'm going to use is that I'm going to firstly user file pointer, that is if, and I'm going to open my file. Now the difference between the upper code and in this code is that I'm going to open my file in the append mode. Okay, I'm not going to open in the write mode. I'm going to open it in the append mode because I want to add some more content into my file. Now for after that, I have opened this in the mode of A, then I will simply write f dot write. I will use a write function to write the line, and now let's say I want to write the same line, fine, best YouTube channel for Python. After that, I'm going to close that file. Now when I'm going to run it, I'm not going to get any output here because I haven't used the print function. But in my write2.txt, I got this best YouTube channel for Python one more time. Like you saw this best YouTube channel for Python. And now if I'm going to run this one more time, I'm not going to get this any output here, but in this I am going to get this thing in a new line. Why in the new line? Because I have added this backslash in this side. Okay, now let me change and use this backslash in this side. Okay, and now when I'm going to run it, okay, where's my text.txt? And now see, I have got this best YouTube channel for Python in the next line and leaving some space this side. Okay, so this is how we do this appending in a file. So we simply write and open our file in the A mode. That means the opening our file in the append mode, and after that we whatever we want to add, we simply write that sentence and just run our program. Okay, so this is how we write and add some more content into our file. So this was my file. Okay, now our next thing which we are going to see is that it's written here that for seeing how many characters you have written. Now our next thing, let me comment it out. Next thing we are going to see that how many characters we have written in our file. So the way for writing is that I had taken a variable that is a, and I have, okay, hold on, I need to open my file in the write mode. This one, okay, right, fine. Now what I had done is that I had taken a variable f and I had taken my file pointer that is f.write. Okay, so I have written this best YouTube channel for Python in my file. I do print a, and after that I'm going to close my file. Now when I'm going to run it, it is going to show me that this line contains 31 characters and you have added these 31 characters into your new file. So this is the way that how we see that how many characters we have written in our file. So in the above I had also used as append function, but I wanted to see this best YouTube channel for Python. It will consist how many characters, like it is going to take 31. Okay, so the like I have added 31 characters in my this text file. Okay, so this is how we see that how many characters I have added. Now let me comment this out and let's, okay, hold on, what's this? And what I need to do is set, okay, and now I want to comment it, right? Okay, now just hold on, let me uncomment this all. Now if open this file in write mode, mo. Okay, now I have added these comments also because I'm going to give you all these codes in the link that is in my GitHub, so you can refer all these codes for for studying from my GitHub account, which is mentioned in the description box. So here what I have done is I have added this if is my file pointer, and I had again opened my file in the write mode, right? I had okay, now another variable that is a is equal to f.write best YouTube channel for Python print a and f.close. Now let's run it once, and okay, so this is also that single way if I'm going to open a file in write mode, then I'm going to get this 31 as the output. Okay, now once changed, let's open it in the append mode, right? And now when I'm going to run this, then also I'm going to get this 31 as out. Fine. So this is how we check how many characters we have added. Okay, what I'm doing again and again. Let's hold on. Okay, fine. Now Now, the last thing which comes in this writing and appending these two functions is to handle read and write both. And let me go to Python IO file. So, there I had already told that if you want to read and write, open your file in both these two modes, then what you use is a plus sign. So this plus sign will open your file in the read and write in these both the modes. So what I had done here is that I have taken a file pointer, I have opened my file, that is write2.txt, and I had used this plus sign, okay. So it will open my file in read and write, both the modes, fine. After that, I had written print and simply I had written f dot read. So it will read my file also, and after that I'm going to write on this file also, that is f dot write, and it will show that backslash n. Do it now. Let me just remove this space, and now when I'm going to run it, okay, my write2.txt file. So this is my file, right? So this is my file in which I was opening. So f is equal to open, right? Open the file in the read and write mode. Then what I did is that I print f dot read. Okay, I read the content which is written in my file and I wrote that do it now. So when I had done f dot write do it now, what it is printing me as it is going to write do it now here. And the above all the things that I have written, that best YouTube channel for Python is erased because I have commented all that things. So that's why it has been erased, and so it is not going to show this, and I am not going to uncomment all these things. But if you do not comment the above things, it will show you the whole that best YouTube channel for Python, and after that it will show you that do it now, right? So this is how we read and write, perform both the operations at the same time in our file. So here we have discussed about the writing and appending two functions, okay, of the file. Now come some more functions and these functions, okay. Hold on, just let me comment all these things because we are working on the same files, right? So that's why I need to comment all the things. So where's that? Okay, this more function. So now here what I'm doing is that I'm simply opening my file. So for that I used if is equal to open and then write.txt. Now here I'm going to work on my write.txt file, and where is it? This one, okay, in which I have added Shambhavi started a YouTube channel. Name of YouTube channel Fun with Data Science. Do like, subscribe and share the channel. So I'm going to work on this file, okay. So okay, now this f is our file pointer, and now if you want to check that what's the position of a file pointer, then what we use is f dot tell. So now here tell is a function which we use for checking that what's the position of my file pointer. Now here let's see that firstly what I did is that I had simply opened my write.txt file, and I have not printed any of the lines or something here. So it is obvious that my file pointer will be pointing to the 0 value because I haven't read any of the content from my file. What I am simply using is that f.tell, and it is used to tell the position of my file pointer, that your file pointer is present at this value. So when I'm going to run it, I'm simply getting the output here as 0 because I had already told that we haven't read any of the things here. So that's why it is giving me 0. Now let's say I read a line, and with before few minutes only, before 10-15 minutes, I have told you the use of readline function, that is used to read a line from our text file. So now in my text file, the first line was Shambhavi started a YouTube channel. So it will read that file to me, okay. And after that, when I'm going to use my printf.tell function, okay, when I'm going to use my tell function, then it is again going to tell me that after reading this line, this is the position of your file pointer. Now let me show you this thing, that firstly what I wrote, that I simply opened my file, that is write.txt, and I wrote f.tell. So this gave me the output as 0 here, right? And after that I read a line from a function using the function that is readline. So I used Shambhavi started a YouTube channel, I got this output. Then again when I use this print f.tell function, now it told me that now your file pointer's value, now your file pointer has a value, the position of a file pointer is 38. So this is how this tell function works. It helps to tell you that this is the position of your file pointer. Okay, now this f.seek function, what it does is that it tells you that you use this seek function whenever you want to read your file from a particular point. Let's say I write here 6. Okay, and now when I'm going to run this, okay, so I'm so sorry, let me print also. Now let's run it. Okay, so see here. So what I did is that I used f.seek, that is 6. Okay, in bracket I have written 6. So now it will start reading my file from the 6th. Okay, so here also the index thing is same, that it will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here the thing is same like the string slicing thing. There also the characters and the strings were starting from the 0th index. And here also thing is same, it will start from the 0th index. Then I used my file pointer dot seek, okay, and I wrote file f.seek and in bracket I passed the value as 6. So it will tell that now, okay, from here you want to read your file, from this point. And after that I printed a line, that is I used that f.line function, I printed that. And now when I run this, what output I got is AVI started a YouTube channel. So what is missing? So simply SHAMB, these 5 characters, SHAMBH, these starting 6 characters are missing from my sentence, because I said I want to start reading my file from the 6th position, and that's why I use this f.seek and in bracket I use 6. Okay, so I hope you got the point that how your seek, tell and readline function works, and this is how we use our functions. Okay, so this is the basic way for using this readline, tell and seek functions. Now, okay, hold on, just let me comment all these things. Okay, fine. So this is with block. Now wait a second. Okay, so here we simply use with block. With open, write.txt as f. A is equal to f.read and print 20. Okay, now let me explain what's all this. So here I had used a with block and I had opened my write.txt file as f. F is my file pointer. Then what I did is that I had taken A is equal to f.read 20, and then when I'm going to print that A, the output which I am going to get is the starting 20 characters of my file, that is Shambhavi started up, right? And yeah, just remember one thing, that it will also include the spaces, the single space that you have given between the you can say words. Okay, so as yeah, I have already told all these things, yeah, right, in the previous videos. Okay, so write open with write.txt as f is equal to a.f.read and 20, then print a. Fine. So if we wanted to read the lines from our program, we were writing like, okay, hold on, let me we were starting the starting characters. Writing and opinions. Yeah, so this was something like this was something which we were doing. Hold on, where it is my has moved. Okay, this was something which we were doing to open the file, and then we were using that seek function. Okay, so it's that seek function that we want to start it from here, but now this is the shortcut for using, we use this with block, okay, with open write.txt as file pointer, and now it is going to give me the till that 20th character. The value, the string, it is going to return me the string till the 20th value. And what was my seek function doing? It was starting my string from that value, and my with function will return me the value, will return me the string till that value. So I hope you got the difference, that seek function was giving me the string from that respective starting position, like I mentioned 6 there. So it was printing me the string from the 6th index. But my with function, what it is doing is that, let's say I wrote 6 here, so it will print me the string till the 6th index. Now let me run it. See, I got my string till the 6th index. So this is how, and this is the difference, that if you want to print the string from a respective index, then you use seek function, and if you want to okay, sorry, I guess I messed up with this. Let me correct it, that if you want to read a file from a particular index, okay, then you use this with function app, and if you want to read a line till the particular index, then you use that was like seek function. Okay, let me go to OneNote. I'm just confusing you all for this thing. Okay, fine. Let's say I wrote a string that is, okay, my writing is not too much bad, which is seeming it. Okay, I'm going to write Shambhavi. Okay, right. Now, if I want to print something from S till B, if I want to print my this much characters only, then what I'm going to use is the with function. With, okay, and I'm going to write my file name. And if I want to start from this A only, okay, I don't want to print this previous string. I want to start my printing the string from A, then I am going to use my seek function. Okay, so now I hope I made this clear to you. Now let me take one more time Shambhavi, and let me write it once more. No, don't think that I'm learning my names spelling. I already know that, but I'm going to tell you all. Okay, so here what like if I want to print SHAMB, okay, then what I'm going to write is that I'm going to use this write function. And if I want to print from this A till a line, you can say till a line, then what I'm going to use is the seek function. Now I hope you got that point, right? So now this is how seek and write function works, and yeah. So this is all about this file handling, that what are the functions in the file handling and how do we perform these functions. So I hope you all got the proper idea for the file handling Python input output functions. We saw open, read and readline functions, then we saw writing and appending, and then we saw seek till functions and after that we saw the with block. So these all are the functions which includes file handling, and these all are the ways to write, read, append, and you can say seek a position and all that things which includes file handling. So I hope I made all these things clear to you, and if you have still any doubts, you can rewatch the video or you can ask your doubts in the comment box. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe and share the channel, and share this channel as much as you can. Okay, so this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and bye bye. Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi, and today we are going to discuss about some topics, and they are named as global and local variables, recursive versus iterative approach, lambda functions and if strings. So basically we are going to see that what are all these and how do they work in Python programming. So firstly let's move towards the global and local variables. So quickly let me tell you about the things that global variables are the variables Like global variables means any number of functions can use this variable inside the program. So what does this mean? This means that global variables means any number of functions can use this variable inside the program. Okay, let me tell you this thing in a very simple definition, that global variables are always declared outside the function and local variables are always declared inside the function. So basically this is the, like, you can say, very easy definition for this global and local variables. Okay, let me go to OneNote and here let me open a new notebook. Okay, and just let me write the things here. Okay, and let me go a little down the side. Okay, fine. Now let's say here I have made a variable x and I have stored a value as 5 here. Okay, other than that I have made a function here, and let's say the name for my function is def1. Okay, and in the bracket I pass some parameters, like let's say n. Okay, and inside, like a colon, and inside this also I use this variable x and I declare this value as 10 here. Okay, now my x is equal to 5 would be acting as a global variable, and my x is equal to 10 would be acting as a local variable. Okay, because x is equal to 5 would be acting as a global variable, because global variables are the ones who are declared outside the function. So this global variable, this x is equal to 5 is declared outside my function, so this one is a global. And next, my x is equal to 10 would be treated as local variables because it is declared inside the function. Okay, so local variables are the ones who are declared inside the functions. Okay, so this is the main difference about the global and local variables. Now let me go to PyCharm, and here we are. Okay, so here what I have done is that I have simply made a firstly I have made a simple function, that is div function, and in bracket I have passed a parameter that is in. Okay, then other than that, inside the function I have written L is equal to 5 and I have simply printed L. Okay, after that outside I have called this function and I have written this is me. Done. Now when I'm going to run this, I would simply get the output as 5. See, okay, because inside my function I have declared this L is equal to 5. Now inside my function, when I have declared L is equal to 5, so this L is equal to 5 is acting as a local variable. So this L is equal to 5 is a local variable because this is basically declared inside my function. So this is the thing how we say that, okay, this is a local variable. Next, this I have done. Other than that, I have made a new variable m is equal to 8. Okay, and I have declared that m is equal to 8 also inside my function. Okay, next what I have done here is that I would simply print this L and n. Now when I'm going to run this, I would get 5, 8. So this is what I got. This is 5 and 8. So this is simple. Okay, first what I have done till now, I have simply made a function and its name was def function, and in bracket I passed a parameter that is n. Other than that, I have made one L is equal to 5 and m is equal to 8. Okay, so my L is equal to 5 is my local variable. Other than that, I have printed that L, and after that I have print L and m together. So this was about my local function. Now let's see if I have declared one L is equal to 10 outside my function. I have written L and I have declared it a value as 10 outside my function. And now when I am going to run this, I am now also getting the output as 5, 8. 5 and 8. Why? Because here comes one more thing that we need to have a knowledge, that is the scope. Now what is this scope? So here it is something like whenever we are going to run our program. Okay, so first it sees our local scope and then the variable scope. Now let me tell you that what is this. So let's say inside my function I have declared a value that is L is equal to 5. Okay, so this one is my local variable and here it is my local scope. Okay, and I have printed like here. Outside my function also I have declared a value L is equal to 10. Now what it does is that it first goes and looks into my local scope. Okay, is any variable having value is any variable declared inside this function. So when I simply printed L, n, so it simply goes inside my function and it checked that, okay, is any L present here? So yeah, it found that L is equal to 5. So now it had it will not go outside my function. It will not go that side. What it will do, it will simply print me the value of L which I have written inside my function, because it first sees the local scope and then the variable scope. Clear? So this was about local and global scopes. Okay, now next thing, if I have simply written this global L, okay, and now just let me run, now let me just comment these things. Okay, now let it be. I have written global L. Now what I have done here is that I was having a variable that is L, right? Here I have written it as global. Now what it will do, it will go and it will, wherever I have written global L, for this L, it will automatically go out of my function and search, okay, is there any L present? It will find that, okay, one L is present and it is having a value of 10. It will take this 10 value and come inside my function. Here what it will see, it will say L is equal to L plus 50. So it will give L is equal to 10 plus 50 and it will give L is equal to 60, and I would be getting the output like print statement as 60 comma 8 when I would now run it. So let me quickly run this. Okay, name is okay, sorry, I just want to comment these things. Okay, done. Now quickly let me run this once more. Okay, so now just say that what output did I get? The output which I get is 60 and 8. Okay, so now let me quickly once more explain that what it is going on here. So simply, when I have written this global L, so global variables are those variables which are declared outside my function. So it will when as I have written global here, and when I would run this, it would quickly go outside my function. It would see, okay, is there any L value present here? Now here it would find that L is equal to 10 is present. It will quickly take that 10 and here now this L is equal to 10 plus 50. Now it will become L is equal to 60, and when I have written as print L comma M, it would simply print me the output as 60 comma 8. So this is how local and global variables work. Now quickly let me once more revise the definitions, that global variables are always declared outside the function, okay, and local variables are the ones which are declared inside the function. Next, I was talking about the scope. So basically, whenever we run the function, so basically it first says the local scope and then the variable scope. If it is seeing the local scope and if it getting the value, like, okay, in this function I have some local variable and it is having the value. So it will basically print me that value rather than going outside my function and checking out my variable scope. Okay, so it is always the local scope is checked always first. This was about local and global scope. Now let me comment all these things and let's go and see one more example for that. Okay, now here what I have done here is that I have made one function. Okay, the name for the function is def1. Okay, and I have written x is equal to 2. Other than that, what I have done, I have made one more function. So here what I am doing is that I am making nested function inside a function. Done. Now, here what I am going to do is that I would simply make a function that is def1. Inside this function, I declared a value x is equal to 20. So this is my local variable, and I have stored a value as 20 in my local variable x. Other than that, I have declared one more function that is def2. Done. Then I have written global x and I have written the value as x is equal to 88. After that, after coming out of my function, I simply print before calling 2. And I wrote the value for x. Okay, so now what I'm doing here is that I'm simply printing the value before calling my to function. Okay, after that I have simply called my to function and I am printing print after calling to, and here what I am outside printing as 1. Let me comment this thing. Now let me run this once more, and now let me explain you one more thing here. Now what I got is the output is the unexpected one. I just got before calling 2 is the value 20 and after calling 2 the value for x is 20. Why? But here in my to function I simply mentioned the value for x is to 88, and in my one function I mentioned the value of x is 20. But why am I getting this before calling 2 the value as 20 and after calling the 2 value as 20? Why am I getting? And okay, so if you have heard the lecture from the starting, so you must have got the answer, because I have written this global x here. Now what it will do, it will simply and quickly go out of my function. As soon as I have written this global x here, it will go out of my function, and now it would search, okay, is there any x value mentioned here? But what it will do, it will not get any x value here because I haven't mentioned any value of x here. So Now what it will do, it will not get any of the value, so it will simply print that before calling to and after calling to the value for x is 20. Now this thing is happening because I have written this global x, as I have told in the above example also, that as soon as I have written this global, it would quickly move out of my function and it would search that, okay, is any x value present here? It will not get any other value because I haven't declared any x function, any x variable outside my function, so it will not get any of the global value there. So it would simply print x is equal to 20, that is my local variables inside my functions, and it would simply print me the output. But one thing, now when I would print this x after calling my one function, when I would print this x, now here it would give me the output as 88. Okay, so this was the thing about the global and local variables. How do we make these global and local variables? What is the basic concept behind global and local variables, and how do we write and initialize all these things? So this was all about global and local variables. Now let's move towards our second topic for today, that is recursion. And for recursion, let me make a new Python file. So for making that, let me just go to practicals and let me just make a new Python file. And let me name it as recursion. Recursion versus iteration, let me write it. Okay, done. Now here what I'm going to do is that I am taking an example for the factorial, finding factorial using recursive and iterative, both of the approaches. So fine. Now firstly let me tell you that what is this recursion. Recursion is declaring a function inside a function. This is the basic and the very easiest definition for recursion. Now this is basically it is the defining of function inside a function. Okay, so here what I am going to do is that firstly I am going to make a function, and firstly we will be seeing the iterative approach for finding the factorial. Okay, I would write def and I would write factorial and underscore I would write iterative. Okay, in bracket I would pass a parameter that is n. Done. So here what I have done here is that firstly I am making a function here, def factorial iterative. And now next what I want to do is that I have simply made a variable I have fac. And now here I have initialized the value as 1 into my variable that I have made as fac. Okay, now done. Next what I need to do is that I would simply apply the for I in range. I would apply a loop, for loop, okay, for I in range, and I would, in bracket I would simply pass n. Now here my n would be my this number, which here I have written, okay, which I have passed as a parameter. So before writing all this, let me quickly tell you about the factorial, that what is basically the factorials. Okay, let me just pick up my pen. Okay, and where's that factorial one? Done. So basically this is how we find the factorial of any of the numbers. So now let me just write all the things here. Okay, so this is basically the denotation for n factorial, right? Now let's say I wanted to find the factorial for a number that is 5. Okay, so here what I would write 5 factorial. Now I would simply write my n, that is 5. I would put a multiplication sign. I would write n minus 1. So this is the formula for finding a factorial of any of the numbers. Okay, so let's say I have taken example for a 5. I would write 5 factorial. 5 into 5 minus 1, that is 4. Okay, then I would write 5 minus 2, that is 3. Then I would apply 5 minus 3, that is 2, and it will go. Okay, so it will go till 1. Okay, as soon as my value becomes 1, it would stop there. So this is the way how we find factorial. So basically factorial is found using n factorial. And okay, so this exclamation mark is the representation of a factorial sign. So wherever you find something like n factorial or this 5 exclamation mark, 6 exclamation mark. So basically this is how we denote the factorial sign, this exclamation mark. Okay, so here what I wrote is 5 factorial is equal to n. Now this one is the formula, n factorial is equal to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into n minus 3 up to something like, it will go up to the value till it becomes 1, right? Now, so this one was the long form and this is the short form. Okay, so here n factorial is equal to n into n minus 1 factorial. So this one is a short form. If you want to remember any of the one, you can just take that. Okay, so now just quickly let me write one more. So factorial for 5 is equal to 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, and it's simply resulting me as the output as 120. When you are going to multiply all these things, it will simply result me the final output as 120. So basically the factorial the factorial for 5 is 120. Okay, so this is the thing that how we find the factorial. Now let me go to this question which we were just solving about the iterative and factorial recursive approach. So simply what I do here is that I have written a for loop for I in range, and bracket I pass that parameter which I have just passed in my function. So I passed in. Now next what I need to do is that I need to write fact is equal to fact into, and in bracket I would simply write I plus 1. Okay, this is the you can say mathematics how do we solve for factorial. Okay, and after that, after coming out of my function here, this I would simply return fact. Okay, now after going out of my function this side, I would declare another variable, that is number, and now I wanted to take the input from user only, right? So what I would write number, and I want the integer input, so I would write int. And so basically what I have done here is that I have typecasted this user input into integer format. Okay, so int input, and I would write enter number. Okay, and I would simply put this colons. Now what I would write is I would simply rewrite a print statement. I would write factorial using iterative, okay, APPROA approach, okay, and I would put a colon, and after coming out here what I will do is that I would simply write factorial iterative, and in bracket I would pass number. So basically number is the, you can say, variable which I have taken to store my user input. So this is about the factorial iterative using the iteration. So here what I have done the iteration using my for loop. So this was the iterative approach. Now let me run this, and okay, so now let me just have a little bit. Okay, now it's asking me to enter a number. Let's say I entered 5, because just now I have calculated the factorial for 5, and that was 120. So as soon as I enter, so it is giving me factorial using iterative approach is 16. Okay, so here it's something like we have made any sign mistake. Okay, so I'm so sorry. Here I should not put this plus sign. I should put this multiplication. Okay. Now let's run this, and now it's again asking me to enter a number, and I would, let's say, enter 5. Now it is giving me that factorial using iterative approach is 120. Okay, so here I got the correct output using my iterative approach to find the factorial, and let me just correct the spelling, it's ITE. Okay, now here what I have done, I have just done the factorial iterative approach. Okay, now I would do it using my recursion process. So here I would just make a new function. I would write def, and I would write factorial underscore, I would write recursive. Okay, and in bracket I am doing the same things. I would as the same parameter inside this also. Okay, now I need to use my mathematic whatever I use. So I would write if n is equal to 1. Okay, now here what I'm giving some conditions. Okay, so here if I'm saying that if the value for my n is equal to 1, now return me 1 only, because the factorial for 1 can always be 1, right? Because if we have 1 factorial, so we cannot do n minus 1, because it will turn into 0. So the factorial for 1 is always 1. So I have written that if n is equal to 1. If the value for n is 1, so simply return me the output as 1. If not this condition, then else, and I would write else return n into n multiplication. Here I would write factorial recursive, and in bracket I would use n minus 1. Now just have a look at what have I done here is that I have first made my function that is factorial recursive, and I have passed a parameter that is n. Now I have just put the condition that if n is equal to 1, then return me as 1. Otherwise what I am saying that return me n into factorial recursive, and in bracket n minus 1. So this was the thing which I was saying, that using of a function inside a function is called recursion. So here I have used this factorial recursive function inside my factorial recursive function. So here this is use of recursion, and I have simply wrote return n into n minus 1. Now what I would do, I would just go out of my functions, and here I would just write number, number is equal to int, and in bracket I would write int input, and here I would say enter a number, number. Okay. Now other than that, what I would do is I simply print, and I would write just 1 second. Okay, I would write factorial using a recursive approach. Okay, is, and I would put this colon, and other than that I would put a comma, and I would just use my that factorial recursive, and in bracket I would pass number. It's number. Okay, so this is my whole program. I've completed my whole program, and now when I'm going to run this, so just firstly let me do one thing. Let me quickly comment the above one, because we have already seen the output for this. Okay, comment it. Now let me quickly run this. Okay. Okay, so it's asking me to enter a number. Let's say I would enter same number, that was 5. Done. So what I got, factorial using recursive approach is 120. So what I wanted to tell you is that I just want to tell you about the recursive approach, and this is how we do the recursion. This is function inside a function. Okay, so this is how we simply do the things, right? And okay, so let's say I would pass 1 also one time. So when I wrote here as 1, because I have given a condition. So it said me that factorial using recursive approach is 1, because I have given one condition that if my value for n is equal to 1, so simply return me the final value as 1. Okay, so this was about using the iterative and recursive approach. Now let's move towards our third topic, that is lambda functions. So basically, what is lambda function? Lambda functions are also called as anonymous functions. Let me comment this thing. And okay, one more time. Done. Okay. See, now here I'm firstly going to tell you a little bit about the functions, and then we will go and discuss about the lambda functions also. Okay, so here what I have done, I have simply made a function def add. So this is how we make a user defined function. Okay, so here I have defined, so this is def. Basically this def is used to define a function. Okay, so I have used def, and here I have used my new function, and I have made a user defined function, that is add. In brackets I have passed two parameters, a comma b, and what have I done here? So I have simply returned a plus b. Okay, so this is the thing which I have done, and just let me once check the things. Okay, just hold on. Okay, done. No issues with that. This is all. So this is how we basically make a function and user defined functions. And now let's say I want to make a function, user defined function, for printing for this minus. For that, what I will do, I would simply write a user defined function. I would write def. Okay, then I would use minus. I have made a user defined function. You can just take any one of your choice. Other than that, I will pass two parameters inside my function, that is x comma y. Whatever you wish, a comma b, c comma d, whatever you can say. But here what I have done, I have simply passed x comma y, and then after that I have returned x minus y. Then after coming out of my function, what I have done here is that I have simply printed my minus. So what I am doing here is that I have written print, and in here I have used my function, that is minus, and inside my minus I have passed two values, that are 9 comma 4. Now what's happening is that this my 9 comma 4, 9 is automatically going to x, 4 is automatically going to y. So it has now both the values 9 comma 4. Now when this function would run, it would simply go to return, and it would return 9 minus 4, and the output would be 5. Let me run this. Okay, so here what I'm getting is the 5. That I have told you that this is the way how we just make a user defined function, and we do that things. Now if I want to make the things using lambda function, so for that what I would do, it's very easy. That I would simply write minus is equal to, I would use this lambda. So this lambda is used for making the lambda function. So this is the keyword which we use for making any of the lambda function. So I simply wrote minus is equal to lambda, and I wrote x comma y. So here what I have done, I have passed two values, that are x and y, right? Now I wrote lambda x comma y, and I simply put a colon. After that colon, I simply wrote x minus y. Done. Other than that, coming into my print statement, I simply wrote print. Then inside this, I simply wrote minus. Minus is my variable in which I have stored my lambda function, which I have just made here. So I have simply written print. I have used that minus variable here. Inside that, I have passed just two values that are 9, 4. And now when I am going to run this, I would simply get the output as 5. So this lambda function is another way you can say for writing this user defined function. So here what I was doing, I was just defining a function and I was returning the values and all that things. But in a lambda function, what I need to do is that I simply need to make a variable. I simply wrote lambda x comma y, and I need not to return also. I simply put a colon, write x comma y, x minus y, and here I simply printed the values. So this is how this lambda function works. Okay, so this is the way for using the lambda function. Now just let me comment it and let me comment this one also. Let's go and see some more examples for lambda functions. Okay, okay, done. Sorry. Okay, so here what I am doing is that, okay, let me just uncomment the things and let me explain you all the things. Okay, so this one is a user defined function. After that, I will tell you how to write this function in lambda also, right? So here what I have done is that I have simply taken a function. I want to make a user defined function, so I have taken the keyword that is there for making a function. Then I here named the user defined function a underscore first. Okay, and in bracket I passed a parameter that is a. I returned a, and in brackets I returned 1. I will let you know what is this. Okay. Here, after coming out of my function, I simply made a variable that is a, and I wrote a is equal to, I made a list inside a list, a nested list. Okay, so this is a list inside a list. I pass some values in this list that are 1, 41, 9, 6, and 8, 23. Okay. Now I want to sort these values. Okay. So what I wrote, a dot sort key is equal to a underscore first, and I simply print a. Now just let me quickly run this. Okay. Now just see what happened here. My second values are sorted. Okay. So now just check out here for these. I have written a is equal to 1, 41, 9, 6, and 8, 23. So the values which are sorted here are 41, 6, and 23. Now just see in the output which I am getting are 6, 23, and 41. Why is this so? Why my first values are not sorted? Because in the return function where I have used this return, I have given the value as 1. If I have changed this value to 0, then my 9, 8, and 1, these would have come in the sorted value, means these have come in the ascending order. Let me just show you. I have written return a and 0. Now here my first values that are 1, 8, and 9, they are sorted. So this is the way how we if you want to sort any list inside a list inside this. So this is the way we make a user defined function, and we just use this sort function. Now if I want to do all these things using my lambda function, so what I would do, I would simply declare a variable. And let's say here I have declared a variable that is a. Okay, and I have passed to return the same list which I was using above. Now I need not to make any function. I need not to use anything. Simply what I need to do is that I need to use my sort function. I would write a dot sort, and here I would use key is equal to. Earlier what I was doing is that I was using key is equal to a underscore first. Now a underscore first was my function name. Just check check here. It is a underscore first is my function name, right? Now what I am doing, I am simply using this lambda function. Key is equal to lambda x. Now colon x0. Now 0 means my first values of my list. So it is 1, 5, and 8. So they are automatically sorted. Let me write a different values, and let me write something like 9 here. Okay. And now simply what I am doing is I am printing a. Now quickly let me run this once, and okay. So now just have a look that all my first values are sorted here. See, 1, 8, and 9. So basically all my values are sorted here, right? So this is the way how we do the things. Okay, now in this lambda function, what it is doing, it is automatically sorting my all these things also. So here in the 8, 23 is come this side, and got this side. So this is the way how we sort these lambda functions. So I hope now you got the point about the lambda function, that how do we use these lambda functions, and basically why do we use this lambda function. So basically they make our work easier. Okay, now here I have told you about lambda functions. Now, if you are just watching my videos for the data analysis, which I'm just presently doing on Google Play Store dataset, which I basically upload on Thursdays. So in that, if you are just watching it, in there you will get a lot of use of these lambda functions. So basically, there I have not used my user defined functions. I have just made that lambda functions and I have used all the things here. Okay, so this is the thing. So next we have the topic is if strings. Now, what are these if strings? So basically if string is something, let's say uh, you have taken any variable, okay, and like let's say you have a variable that is my, okay, and you have stored some string in that variable, and in the output you want to print that string. So basically if strings are used there. Now let me quickly tell you that how do we do this. And okay, where is if? Okay, done. So basically, firstly, let's see this. Okay, I have used a variable that is my. Okay, in this variable, I have stored a string and that the string is Shambhavi. Okay, other than that, I have made one more variable and I have used my name is, and here what I have used %s. So, right, and outside my functions I have used my percent my. So basically this percent is that, okay, one string has to come here, and outside my function what I have used is my, percent my. So percent my, what it will do, it will simply print Shambhavi here. And when I am gonna print all these things, and just let me comment this thing, and okay, when I am going to print this, I would get that my name is Shambhavi. Okay, downside something is uncommented, so just leave that. Just see the highlighted part which I am telling that my name is Shambhavi. Okay, so this is the thing which I was saying. But here I haven't used my if string. Now, my use of my if strings is this side where I would tell you. Okay, this is the same example which I have told you. Just one more thing here. Okay, let me go upside and okay, let me go like sorry and uncomment this. Okay, this one is the thing. Okay, done. Now, see what I have done here is that my I had made a new that same variable that is my, and I have stored a string that is Shambhavi in this. Okay, then other than that I have used a variable that is s, and I have stored as a value of 10 this side. Other than that I have made one more variable s1. Now here what I am doing is right, I am writing my name is and I just put these blank brackets. Okay, after that s2 is equal to s1 dot format my comma s and print s2. Okay, just let me run this. Now for printing this my and s values, what I need to do is that I simply need to write s2 is equal to s1 dot format my comma s. For printing this my and s value, I need to write both of these things here. Now, if I want to use this f string, so for using this f string, what we simply do is that we simply write, let me comment this thing. Okay. Now for using my f strings, what I need to do is that let's say I import this math, these are all the other things. Here I made a variable that is my. I stored that Shambhavi s is equal to 10. Now here what I did, I made a variable s1. I simply outside declared f. Now this f is what I was telling you about the f strings. This is how we write this f strings, right? So here I would write f. I would put semicolons. I would write my name is. I would put this curly braces. Okay, I would put this curly braces, and now inside this curly braces I would put that variable name whatever I want to print. Let's say I want to print my name is in the brackets curly braces I put my. So here this my refers to Shambhavi. Okay, now this Shambhavi would come here. Other than this I was having a value of s. This s was come here as 10 value, and like this is a simple example that you can even use any of the, you can say, libraries also. Like I would just say I just imported a module, let's say that is library that is math, and here I just use math.cos60. This is a way for showing you that okay, you can use these things also, none other than that. Okay, after that I just printed this s1. Now when I'm going to run this thing, just see the output which I got here is that my name is. So this my name is I have printed. Other than that, with the help of my f string, I was able to print this my inside this curly braces. So the variable my was having a value, I was having a string as Shambhavi stored. Okay, so here I have stored that thing. So here it simply printed me Shambhavi. Next, I was having another curly bracket. Inside that curly bracket, I was having S variable. Inside that S variable, the value 10 was stored. So it simply printed me 10. Other than that, I was using the math.call 60, so it just printed me 60. So this was like value for 60. This was a way for telling you that okay, you can use these things also. But let me just erase these things. And now let me quickly run this one. Okay. Now here I would be simply waiting that my name is Shambhavi and then this is the S that I have here. Basically what I told is that this if string is basically used when you want to print some variables, like you have stored some variable, sorry, you have stored some string or you have stored some value inside a variable and you want to print it print that thing in some of the statement. So basically there you use this if string. Okay, so like in the above example what I told that this was also a way for doing this, but this was a very long way. So for that this if string is used. Simply you will write if, here you will use semicolons, my name is, in the brackets you will use that variable's name which you want to print and then you will simply print that S1. So this was about if strings. So now let me quickly have a recap of all the things which we have discussed today. So first we have discussed about the global and local variables. Okay. So here we have seen the example that the global variables are the ones which are declared outside the function and the local are the ones which are declared inside the function. Then here what I have done, I had simply made a function and there I have made some local variables. Now when I had just made this L as global, so this whenever as soon as I will write global and I would make any variable, it will simply go out of my function and search for that variable outside my function. Okay, so this was the thing which happened this side. Then we discussed about the scope also, that whenever we run the function, it first says the local scope and then the variable scope. Okay, so whenever we run the function, so it will firstly see our local scope and then it will go and see out for the variable scope. Other than that, we have just discussed one more example where I have simply made a function inside a function. I have written def1, def2 and then I have assigned some x values and then we have simply printed the values. Next, we have simply moved towards a recursive approach and iterative approach for finding a factorial. So these were the two ways where I told about the recursion, that it is like, okay, let me just have a quick definition for recursive approach, and it is something like it is use of function inside a function. Okay, which I told that it is the use of function inside a function. So here in this recursive one, I have simply used my factorial recursive function inside my this function. So basically this is a use of function inside a function. So here we have seen about the factorial, we learned about factorial and we have seen that how to find a factorial using iteration and using recursion. Then moving towards the third, we were dealing about the lambda function, which were also called as anonymous function. I told that what are these lambda functions and basically how we use and why you will use this. Okay, because this is a shortcut form for using this user defined function. So this is how we use these lambda functions. At the last, I just told you about the if strings, that basically what are these if strings and why we use this in programming. So let's say you have a variable and you want that variable's value or string to be printed in your output. So you will simply write if. Now, don't forget to write this if. If you are not going to write this if, then these values will not be printed. Okay. So if you simply write this if, then you will put semicolons and you will write whatever the thing you want to write, and here you would in the curly braces inside this semicolons only you will write that variable names or whatever variable value you want to be printed. Let's say I wanted to print the like whatever the string is stored in my, so I simply wrote my here. Okay, and I wanted the value which is to be stored which is stored in S, I wanted to print that here. So simply I wrote S. So I hope I made all the things clear to you. So today we discussed about if strings, lambda functions, recursion versus iteration, and global and local variables. I hope I made all the things clear to you. If you have any doubts, you can rewatch the video and you can even ask the questions with me in the comment box. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and bye-bye.